rolling. You guys just make sure that you're muted, which everybody is, except for there's a couple people on the phone that aren't muted. And Tiffany, you just popped on and you're not muted either. So, oh, and let me close this door so you guys don't hear my furnace in the background. Give me 1 second. Okay. Alrighty, so this is week 2 of this group of our Emerald to Diamond. So welcome back. Last week we kind of went over what you can expect, what we're gonna do, and the big thing I've written at the top of my paper is overwhelmed, because I feel like everybody, whether it is the new coach apprenticeship program, the Emerald to Diamond, my leadership group, like everybody's overwhelmed. And so what is it? And I just want to poll you guys that is overwhelming you. And you guys can type that or, unmute, but think about, like, is it the fact that you have so many new ideas running through your mind and you're just really excited about them and you just don't know where to go first? Is it that you're struggling to keep your fitness in check and then you're trying to tackle this business and you don't know what to do? Are you trying to do too many social media outlets at once? What is it that's kind of making you feel overwhelmed? So that's kind of the first question that I have, and you guys can type that, or if anybody would like to speak and kind of give me some insight. I'm trying to rack my brain how I can be a better leader and help people from getting to that point where they just feel overwhelmed. So anybody that wants to talk, or you guys are just going to type to me? Trying to keep up with posting on all my social media, staying organized, time-wise, finding good creative material. Okay. And a lot of it at the beginning, Autumn, is really, that's just it. That stuff takes up so much of your time. That creativity is where the bulk of your time is spent at the beginning and posting on social media. So, Michelle, I asked about overwhelmed. Everybody seems to be really overwhelmed with, just what to do, where to spend their time. It just, that seemed, and I don't know why people are overwhelmed. So I'm trying to figure it out so that I can give you guys a focus, and just say, all right, let's clear the clutter and let's just focus on this. So, and yes, your power hour does go by so fast. So I really feel like tonight's call is going to help, because my whole topic for this evening is time management. All right. So I feel like if we focus on time management, that's going to help us in every other area that we need to tackle in order to have a great booming business. So I got my notes here. Let's get started. So before we really dig into this, let's do a couple of announcements. Please, please, please go back and listen to the National Wake Up Call. If you need to listen to the recording or the playback number, you can always find the information under the Coach Breaking News in your Coach online office, right? There's the playback. You can either listen to the link, it'll play on your computer, or you can listen on your phone. So you have 2 options if you're driving to or from work. What's in that National Wake Up Call that you need to listen to? They explain the Beachbody on demand. They talk a little bit about the 21-day fix extreme. They talk about the SS Beachbody, the Success Club trip, the Cup Challenge. And then I spoke on there about a lot of things that actually probably could help you guys with this topic that we're talking about tonight too. So, and listening to the National Wake Up Calls every single week is kind of your place to stay up to date. So if you feel like you're not in the loop with what's going on in Beachbody land, that's the first place I would go. Right? I would go there, because at least that keeps you up to date with what corporate's got going on, right? It gives you your fuel for the week. So always make sure you make that a priority. And then you ask questions. So, make sure that you go to that Coach Breaking News. You check out the FAQs. You really kind of take this business and you say, you know what? I'm the CEO of my own business. It's not anybody else's responsibility to tell me what to do. I have to kind of take the reins and I've got to do it myself, So, that Coach Breaking News is where I go if I'm looking for information on something. I go to the FAQs all the time, and if I don't know an answer to a question about the Success Club trip, I go to those FAQs and I put 2016, Success Club trip, and the FAQs all pop up. Or if you need to know something about a military discount or Shakeology, just type it in the FAQs and usually something will come up. The launch of the 21-Day Fix Extreme. What is Beachbody On Demand? Find everything you need to know there. All right. Okay. So, National Wake Up Call. We kind of did a little video yesterday in the Dream Team about it. Also, if you didn't get a chance to travel to Pittsburgh over the weekend, we actually did a live broadcast of our Dream Team live event. So that also is on Katie Ersta's YouTube channel. So if you want to go there and save that link and listen to it or give it to your team as personal development, it was a great 3-hour training session by all the top coaches in our organization, giving you everything from how to turbocharge your business for a fast success. Alyssa talked about that, to creating confidence with Val, overcoming objections. Marsha talked about that. Katie also talked about developing your why. Deidre and Kaylee really talked about having a success partner and different personality styles. And then I really kind of gave you a rundown of my business, of where I started until now and how I got there. So good stuff. And the people that were there can kind of say, hey, yeah, this is what I got out of it. It's worth the 3-hour investment in your time. So, all right. Okay. So time management. Let's just say that this was probably the number one thing that I struggled with as a new coach. I was a hot mess, to say the least, and sometimes I still think that I am, even though you guys might all think that I'm organized. I beg to differ on 99% of the days, but I'll just let you think that I'm organized because, hey, it works for me. So anyways, being a new coach in Beachbody, my office was my kitchen table. My office was in our townhouse, where our kitchen and our dining room and our living room were connected. I had no privacy, had no office. My laptop was ancient and took like 10 minutes just to boot up at the beginning. I had pieces of paper everywhere, notes, I had lists, I had links to things. I had a million different screens up on my computer at all times. I was a hot mess. I was like many of you. The one thing that helped me to get a hold of this time management piece was the stark reality that I was not able to achieve my goals because I was not organized, or I did not have a clear direction. So I took it upon myself to say, I stink at this area of my life. How can I fix that? So I read the book, Eat That Frog. So that was one of the books that I really dug into, and it's short and easy, and it gives you like little examples. But Eat That Frog really talks about, okay, what is that one thing that you need to do because it's going to bring about the most success in your business, but you always procrastinate it. You always put it off to the last thing, and then you never do it. And so therefore you never have success in your business. And so for me, it was inviting. I would spend my whole power hour scrolling through Facebook or making a really cute pick monkey image, and then I never invited. And so I really was not advancing my business forward, right? I was not getting as much out of it as I should. So Eat That Frog really helped me to start prioritizing, along with the Craig Holiday call that I shared with you guys today. That was probably the second thing that helped the most for me. I have listened to that specific Craig Holiday call at least 10 to 15 times. And I listened to it when I was a new coach, when I was 6 months into the business, when I was a year in the business, because at each point in my business, I was at a different place and I took different nuggets from it, or it helped me to go back and be able to teach new coaches and to remember kind of how I felt at the beginning. So once I started to really kind of realize, hey, I'm waking up in the morning, I'm getting my workout in, but I'm sitting down at the computer and I'm just scrolling through the timeline, and my kids are waking up and I'm not getting anything done. And then I'm angry with them because they woke up before I was finished with my Beachbody work, right? And I was like, well, that's not being a good mom. I need to change something. And so I started to ask myself, what is the best use of my time? And so I took all of these sheets of paper that I had. I took this, I had a handwritten kind of a planner, what I was using. and I just made a master to-do list. So you guys probably are like me and have ideas just swirling around in your head, challenge group ideas, post ideas, invite ideas, things that you could do. Wait, you want to start a fit club, you want to start a blog, you want to make a like page, you want to work on your Instagram account. Just write it all down. I started just creating at a notebook of my to-do list, and I would just write everything that went on in my mind, and I just constantly would add to it. Then I would look at that and I would say, what activities are business building versus time wasting? What activities on this to-do list are going to help me to reach my goal the fastest, right? So I would go through this master to-do list and I would say, all right, my number one goal, and for each of you, it could be different. So let's just say you are on the path to get diamond in 30 days, right? So 30 days from now, you want to be a diamond coach. You know that you need 5 coaches and 1 emerald in order to get there, right? So if you know diamond is your goal, you know that you're going to have to invite at least 50 people in order to get 5 coaches. Let's just put that out there. So what's going to be at the top of your to-do list? Inviting. That's going to be the first thing that you're going to put at the top of the list, because you know you need to invite. The more you invite, the more likely it is that you're going to get to that goal of getting those 5 coaches. You also know you want to get to diamond and you need to invite people, but you need to invite them to something specifically. So you need to start a challenge group. So you need to choose your next challenge group start date. And maybe you choose the next challenge group start dates for the next 2 months. So you just have it planned out, right? And so that's something else, right? So if your goal is to get to diamond and you need to invite and you need to start a challenge group, well, then your Facebook posts are going to fall into that category. So, all right, I need to start a challenge group. So now I need to write posts that are about getting people into a challenge group. I need to talk about me being a product of the product. So that's one of my posts. I need to make an actual challenge group advertisement. That's another post. I need to talk about success stories of people who have done challenge groups. AKA, if you saw my timeline today when I did the blog post on it's not just a bag of powder and a pack of DVDs, like that was me handling that objection, that cost objection. That was how I handled that. I wrote that blog post with that specific thought in mind, was, hey, I'm getting a lot of price objections. Let me handle that in a post. Let me make it a blog post, right? So all of those things are circled around the fact that I'm trying to get challengers into my January 19th challenge group. And I'm going to approach everybody signing up for the discount. So if you need 5 coaches, then everybody you talk to about a challenge group is going to be a preferred customer, because why not? You're buying a challenge pack, you might as well sign up this way. It doesn't cost you anything more to do it that way. And, there's no strings attached. You can make a decision to keep going or cancel it or change it, at any point in time. So I just lead with that. So if you have other things on your to-do list, like create a like page or work Instagram or create a new timeline banner or start a fit club, those might not be at the top of your priority list because they're not going to help you achieve the immediate goal of getting to diamond. Inviting, following up, messaging people, those are going to be the things that are going to help you to get there. Being a product of the product is always going to be high on that priority list because people need to physically see that you're doing what you're inviting them to. And that takes care of a post also. All right, so I began to look at this to-do list of all these ideas that I had, and I began to say, okay, writing a blog post about what is elite isn't going to cut it right now. I need to write a blog post about what is a challenge group, or, why is Shakeology not a protein powder? I needed to write things that related to what was going on in my business. That needed to be my focus. And then I would sort of cut the other things out. Right. So, and then something else that I would do too is as I was sitting down, this is kind of a sidetrack, but as I was sitting down and I was working on my to-do list, maybe my goal was to write a blog post, but I was writing this blog post and I kept getting stuck and it was really taking me a long time to write it. And I just felt like I wasn't my best work. I literally would shut it down and move on to something else. So I'd say, all right, this is taking too long. I'll come back to this tomorrow. Let me invite or let me follow up with these people. And I would flip the switch. So for you guys too, like I was talking to Angie today and she's like, oh man, I'm doing this Canva. She was making something like PicMonkey, and she's like, it just won't upload and it's just taking too long. And she's like, I'm moving on. That's the kind of stuff that I would do too. If I was searching for an answer for something on YouTube and I couldn't figure it out, I'd move on or I'd ask somebody. So that's something else. Like you got to catch yourself in the moment to say, am I wasting my time and I'm not being productive? You know, and if that's the case, how can I refocus? So whether you're like me and you were working this at your kitchen table with 2 little kids at home, or if you're the person that has a full-time job and a family and you're trying to work this in between, you're applying the same principles. You're saying to yourself, I only have a limited amount of time every day, so I've got to make the most out of it. And I have to be okay with it not being perfect, but it being the best that I can physically do. All right. And then not comparing your journey to everybody else's, because you don't know the time commitment that other people have, the outside, responsibilities that they have. Their life could be very different than yours. So it's very important that you remember that each one of you is unique in your Beachbody journey, and that's okay. You all can be successful no matter where you came from and no matter where your start is. You can train yourself to be a success in this business. All right. Okay, so once we've kind of figured out what is your number one goal, what do we want to achieve, and we've looked at this to-do list and we've said, okay, these are the most important things that I need to accomplish. And maybe you even break it down by week and you say, all right, I need to invite 10 people this week, and I need to sign at least 1 coach, and I need to at least post 2 to 4 times a day. I mean, you can break that down and make that super specific. Then we need to look at your calendar. So that's the next thing. So I've done everything from paper and pencil, a big desktop calendar, my calendar on my phone, to Google Calendar. And that's where I'm at now, is Google Calendar. That's what works for me. I can open it anywhere. It syncs to my cell phone. So if I need to make an appointment with somebody, I know that it's going to sync on my computer when I log in. So I'm not going to miss something. I can set reminders. So on my Google Calendar, I can block out times, right? I can set times. And so what I've done was I set business hours for myself. And you guys can all do this too. Again, first things first, what are the constants in your life? Do you work a 9 to 5? If you work a 9 to 5 or a job, full-time job, go in, put that in your calendar right now. 8 to 4:30, I'm a teacher. I'm at school. Put school in there. All the way across the board, Monday through Friday, right? That's done. That time is not Beachbody time. Maybe you do 8 to 11 and then 12 to 3 because you have an hour break that could be something else in your day. So that's a constant. Second thing I put in my calendar is my workouts, non-negotiable. Across the board, 5 a.m. Repeating 365 days out of the year, workout, 5 a.m., right? For me, after my 5 a.m. workout at 6 o'clock is power hour. And it's usually from 6 to 7:30 because my kids usually wake up about 7:30. So from 6 to 7:30, that's my time to sit down at the computer. And that's the time that I look at this to-do list and I say to myself, okay, what do I need to do first? Post. Got to make my morning post. Like that is the first thing I do when I sit down at that computer, make that morning post. Sometimes I will even save the picture the night before on my phone. I will doctor it up, do whatever I want to do to the motivational quote, or sometimes I'll take the workout picture from yesterday and use that for tomorrow so it's ready to go in the morning, because when you're just sitting on the couch at night, just winding down, you can be making your morning post and then you just post it the next morning. So it's my post. Then it is checking in with my challengers because they're very important. I need to make sure that I do that check-in, but it's quick. It's very, very quick. I turn off the notifications on my computer so I don't hear that ding all the time, right? I make it so that I'm not online so people cannot message me. So my box isn't constantly popping up that I have a new message or somebody wants to chit chat with me, right? I just turn it off so that people don't even know that I'm online at that point in time. And I turn my phone. That's another thing. So you might have turned your notifications off on your computer, but are they still dinging on your phone? turn off your ringer on your phone and flip it over so that you cannot see it blinking or the notifications, or just turn off the notifications for Facebook on your phone so you don't get them. All right. So those are things that have helped me very early on, because if you get distracted easily, these are things that are going to keep your squirreliness in check, because I'm a squirrel, right? I get easily distracted. So I know how you guys feel. And there are still some times where I'm like, oh, let me just go put in a load of laundry. No, stay focused on the task at hand. The laundry can wait until you're done. All right. And I'm guilty of it. I need a snack, or I need a drink, So anyways, so I will do my challenge groups. And then as soon as I'm done with my challenge groups, I'll kind of go through my favorites, because I put all the groups that I'm personally responsible to checking into every single day are in my favorites. When a challenge group ends, I remove it from my favorites. I delete everybody out of the group, and I delete myself last, and it deletes the group. So I no longer have that group anymore. I just get in the habit of doing that so that Facebook doesn't think I'm too much, that I have too much. So once I get through all of my challenge groups, then I move on. If you see that little pop-up of somebody in your challenge groups posting, don't go back to it. Your goal is to not feel like you need to respond exactly when somebody, makes a comment. You do not have to check into your challenge groups every single time one of your challengers posts. It is okay to say, I only am available from 7 to 8, from 1 to 2, and from 9 to 10. And those are your check-in times. You're not a short order cook. This is, you have to stick to some kind of a schedule, whatever that may be. Kristen, yes, I use a master calendar for everything. It's all on one, because I'm a visual person and I need to see it all together at one time. Yes, so definitely don't need to be a short order cook. The other thing too, Katie, is just say like, hey guys, I just want you guys to know that this is what you can expect from me as your coach. I will always be available pretty much around these times. And if I'm not, I will get back to you around these times, but always know that I'm here. I will be checking in with you. And if you need something immediately that's really, urgent, you can text me or message me. I usually will say that too. So, all right. So, setting your business hours, scheduling your workout. I do my follow-ups. I do my invites. I check into my challenge groups. Then I look at my messages. I respond to any messages. And you know what? To be honest with you, I prioritize my messages. So if there is something that is super important in my messages, that like somebody wants information about a challenge group or somebody wants to become a coach, I answer that first. Right? Then I go down through and I say, okay, what is somebody just wanting to small talk with me, or somebody's asking me a non-important question? If I don't have time because I've got to get out the door, that's going to wait until later. I just ignore it. I just keep it marked as unread and I'll come back to it later. Right? So I've even prioritized my inbox based on what is the most important based on this chunk of time that I have. So you're allowed to scan. You don't have to respond to everything. Then I go to my emails and I do the same thing. I prioritize, and I've created folders in my email. So I've got, and I do the Wufoo documents or Wufoo applications for my challenge groups. So I have a folder that says challenge group applications, that has challenge group conversations. So once I respond to the application and they respond back, any responses go into that category. All right. Then I've got coach applications, coach conversations, and then Melanie needs to address. And I have those three. And so then I do the same kind of things where I kind of sort them out. Then I have, and then I have like coach relations. I have a folder for coach relations. I have a folder for, travel, for, anything that I need along the way. So I have a folder for challenger whys and goals. So any goals or why things that they send me, I have a folder that goes into, so I can keep myself organized in my inbox. And that took me a whole 30 seconds to create those folders. And then what I do is, okay, you don't have a lot of time, but you have 10 minutes to check your emails. So you go down through your emails and you go, okay, challenge group application here, challenge group conversation here, new coach over here, need to address this later here. And you sort it, you delete the junk, and your inbox is clean. And then when you get home that night, it's like, all right, I only have to respond to these three that are super important. I can tackle this. And it clears the clutter of all the junk mail that you get throughout the day. Because I don't know about you guys, but when I see that number on my phone going up of all the emails I have, it kind of starts to scare me, even though 99% of it is junk. All right. So that's something else that I do. Now, I never honestly sit down and do my personal development because I'm so busy. It is an in motion thing for me. Some of you may have enough free time during the day where you can sit and read for an hour, and your kids might be older. You might not have kids. You might be single. You might not have the same responsibilities that I do. But for me personally, it's just not feasible. I have every waking moment is filled with something. So when I drive, I listen to audio. I've downloaded Audible, which is where it's through Amazon. I listen to podcasts. I listen to the National Wake Up Calls. I do the audiobooks. And while I'm cooking or cleaning or driving, that is when I'm listening to my audio. That's when I do my personal development, because that fits my life. If you've got a half-hour drive to work every day, I don't listen to the radio. I can't even tell you the last time the radio was on. I can't tell you the last time I knew what the current events were in this world, because it's personal development. Or I do my calls. I'll do team calls, or I'll do coach calls, one-on-one calls, like, when I'm driving, because, hey, I'm a captive audience. I can't text. I can't message. I can talk. I can talk to people during that time. So that's what I do. I will tell you, Anna, I don't count the Bible as personal development. No. I think that is something we do as Christians. That's part of, but when you're talking about personal development for your business, I think that's a different category. So I think if you do your devotionals, that's different than your Beachbody personal development. That serves a different purpose. And honestly, everybody's entitled to their own opinion on that one. That's just what I say, right? And I do my devotionals every day, and I just don't count that as personal development. All right. Okay. So that's like my morning. I kind of walked you through my morning and personal development. Now, let's say, for example, my kids take a nap in the afternoon from 2 to 4. Maybe it's a lunch break from you, or for my teachers out there, it's your planning period. And you're like, okay, I've got 30 minutes. I can check in with my challengers. So what do? I do the same process. I open my computer. I go through challengers really fast. I go through my messages. I follow up. Maybe I need to send a message. Maybe I need to make a post, and then I'm out. Right? So what is the one thing that I have not mentioned in this entire time that I've been talking? Do you guys realize the one time wasting thing that I haven't mentioned at all? Not scrolled the news feed, not once during that time frame. I honestly sometimes think that's good, because it makes me stay in my own little bubble, and I don't even know what other coaches are doing, and I'm just doing my thing, right? So I'm not comparing myself to somebody else. I don't know how awesome their posts are, because I'm just doing my thing because it's working for me. I don't care what anybody else is doing. So sometimes I think that's good. I think when I start to look around too much, I get anxious, because I feel like, oh my gosh, I need to be doing more. I'm not doing enough. I'm not good enough. Just when I don't scroll that newsfeed, the blinders stay on and I just stay focused. So that helps me personally a whole heck of a lot in this process. So, and then I kind of repeat the same thing at night before I go to bed. After I get off this call tonight, I will do just that. Challengers, Facebook messages, and email. I will go in that order, and it's a routine. It's a habit of what I do. And that it works really well. So you guys, let's go back to making this calendar, right? So you've got your work. If you work, maybe you're a stay-at-home mom. So if this is what my calendar would look like, I get up at 5 a.m. I do my workout from 5 to 5:30. I do my Beachbody time from 5:30 to 7:30. And then I have wiggle room, because you never know when your kids are going to wake up. So I usually sit down and type as fast as I can until somebody wakes up, and then I have to close it down. Then my kid time is where most of you have your full-time job. So from 8 a.m. until noon, I am with my kids. So it's doing whatever I do as a mom. Then maybe they eat lunch and watch a cartoon. So from 12 to 1, I can sit down at the computer and answer a couple of messages. Then, it's back to me being a mom again for the next couple of hours. And then I've got Beachbody afternoon time. And maybe in the afternoon, I write a blog post or do something else. So even though I may not go to a full-time job, I still treat my day as if being a mom that is my full-time job. So what do? I turn the ringer off on my phone. Only the important numbers ring through. I turn off my Facebook notifications. When it is family time, my cell phone is not in my hand. It is in my desk drawer or in the drawer in my kitchen. So I physically am not distracted when I'm spending time with my children by my phone. Because like Craig Holiday said, you need to be present where with the people that you're with. Like that time, like when I'm talking to a coach on the phone and I'm doing a one-on-one, I am not checking messages. I am not responding to challengers. I am with you 100% because number one, it's rude and I wouldn't want anybody to do that to me, but I want to give that person my undivided attention. When it's time for me to spend time with my husband, electronics are off. I have to physically put him in another room on silent because I am so passionate about what I do that I will pick up my phone and just start working. I've made the mistake at the beginning of, playing with my kids and all of a sudden being on my phone and my kids are like, Mom, seriously, put down the phone, and that was guilt. I felt guilt for that. So these are some of the little things along the way that I've realized are okay to do, and they make me balanced. And here's the honest to goodness truth. Your business will not fail if you are not a short order cook, right? You do not have to be that way. You will still be successful. People actually will respect that you set these business hours more so than they will if you're just, and what it'll say is like, it's unrealistic expectations. Oh, you have to be on 24/7 in order to be successful. Well, I don't want to do that. That's just, I don't have that kind of time to devote. And that's the response you'll get from people is they can't do this because it won't work with their lifestyle, right? So just kind of food for thought. And then honestly, on Saturdays and Sundays when Facebook is quiet and it's my rest days, I will get up anyways. I still get up at 5 a.m. And so even if it's a rest day, I actually still get up early. I will work during those 3 hours. So I will do like the extra stuff, like schedule some posts in my challenge groups because I'm going to be gone with my family all day and I want to make sure that post goes out. I will respond to messages that I missed. I'll write an extra blog post. I'll do some of the things that I would like to do, but just didn't get to during the week. And so that 2 hours or 3 hours sometimes before anybody wakes up is like a whole day's worth of work during the week. And I have not interfered with my family time at all. So that's kind of what I do on the weekends to kind of get ahead. And I look at that as that's my sacrifice. That's, where I used to sleep in and I used to look forward to, my weekend sleeping in. That's kind of probably been a big game changer for me is making the decision to just say, hey, I'm willing to give up my sleep because I don't want it to interfere with my family dynamic. And it's a short-term sacrifice for long-term success. So for some of you, you're like, man, I only need to do this for a little bit till I can make enough income to flip it so that I can quit my full-time job or it's only short time until your kids go to school and then you can work all day long while they're at school, right? So I think about that too. I'm like, someday my kids are going to be in school all day long and I'll have, 6 hours to do my own thing. But for now, this is what I'm willing to do. This is the sacrifice I'm willing to make now so that later, I can have the best of both worlds. So Heather, how do you connect as a new coach unless we scroll through our news feed? Should we use individual messaging to connect instead? Okay, so Heather, good question. Actually, that's good because I work that into my power hour. So if I am inviting or I'm following up, that I will scroll through. So, and I set the timer for myself. So 5 minutes is what I would do. And that was kind of part of my inviting and finding people. And so that was a specific time frame for myself. All right. And you can use individual messages. You can kind of do both. You can connect through the newsfeed and you can do individual messaging. And a lot of times you'll have like a list of people you're kind of watching. So you can just go to that person's page, see what they're up to, send them a message. You can kind of do that too. Kristen, if you turn off the notifications, so you still have the notifications when you log into Facebook. You still can look at those notifications and scroll down through them. They just don't show up as like a status update on your phone. You would just go to Facebook and look at your notifications and that's how you would see them all. So you would still see those notifications. Or if you want to leave them on and it doesn't bother you to leave them on, then just do what I do and flip over your phone so that you don't see that lighting up all the time, so that that doesn't bother you. But if those notifications cause you anxiety because you think you need to respond right away, then maybe you need to turn it off. Yeah. No, Kristen, you would still get them. Yes, you definitely would still get them. You'd be able to see it. All right. So I think that the biggest thing is the family time, is making sure that you have that balance. So the one thing I did when I color coded my calendar at first, right, when I made all these blocks of where my Beachbody time was spent. So here's what I also did. So if I had Beachbody from 9 until noon, I'll just say 9 to noon on a Saturday, maybe you guys, and then you have, or even Monday through Friday, you notice, okay, I'm working 9 until noon, but then I'm also working from 9 until midnight on the weekend, at night, because I have calls and I'm following up, and then you're at work all day, and then I looked at this and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have no family time in there. Like I'm not spending any time with my husband. I don't have any date nights in there. I don't have any downtime, and so then I had to scale it back and I had to say, okay, I need to make more time for my family. I need to make more time for blogging. I'm spending too much time on this certain area. So that visual for me, doing that week after week after week, helped me to create a routine. So every Sunday afternoon and evening, I would make my calendar for the week. I would plug in all my calls that I had for that week. I would, if there was anything additional that popped up, I'd plug that in. I'd make my to-do list on Sunday and I would share it with my husband. And I would say, all right, Matt, this is what I have going on for the week. I know I only usually have calls on Sunday and Monday, but I'm going to do a business opportunity call on Thursday, and I would tell him far enough in advance. And I would make sure that I respected his wishes of certain nights I just don't work. And we would talk about that. And we had a very good open line of communication of when my Beachbody time was going to be and when our personal family time was going to be. And so that really helped us to get rid of a lot of the tension that we struggled with at the beginning, because I was very passionate about being a really good Beachbody coach and it consumed me. And, we had those hard discussions, and this calendaring my life really helped me get that under control too. All right. So when it comes down to it, when you're looking at all of this and it takes time to get this routine, but start now. Start clearing the clutter in your life, make that master to-do list, and then really set those priorities, So I mentioned this on the National Wake Up Call, like, what does success mean to you? So you're making this push every month to hit Success Club, right? You're making this push every month to recruit new coaches. You're making this push to get to Diamond. Why? What does it mean to you? So when the going gets tough and you get a lot of objections, or you feel like you're overwhelmed and there's not enough hours in the day, it would be so easy to quit, right? There's nobody saying that if you don't do this, you're going to lose everything. Somebody's going to take your house away and you're not going to have any benefits and you're going to be homeless. There's nobody telling you that at least not for the majority of us, right? So what is it that makes you keep going when you don't want to anymore? And so that's something that you have to dig down deep and say, I'm willing to spend 12 months of my life working really hard so that 24 months from now, I have the freedom to say, I don't need this job anymore, or I don't need to do this anymore, or now I have the freedom to make decisions differently about my life that I never had before. And so for me, that was a big thing. It was that freedom. I wanted that ability to choose how to spend my time, to be home with my kids, or to choose when I wanted to work, or not have to work for a boss. So, and for everybody, it's different. Everybody has a different internal motivation, but that's just it. It's an internal motivation. And if you want it bad enough, you will do whatever it takes to get there. But know that you can do it with this great balance too at the same time. It's just focusing on the right priorities. All right. So does that help at all? Can I have some feedback? Do you want to unmute and talk? I'd love to hear your voice. I don't want to hear myself anymore. Sip my tea.
That was awesome.
Who was that?
Yeah.
Oh, yay. Okay, good.
Yeah. Very, very helpful to prioritize and know, and then to get that time in. That's very good.
Good.
I second that. I really liked hearing that I don't need to follow up right away, and knowing I can have some time and wait and have certain times where I do check in with my group. So that helps me figure that balance out a lot better.
Good. Good. Yeah.
I second that as well. I really got caught this week responding to challengers way too much as soon as they sent something today and yesterday. And I am so squirrely and distractible, and I turn notifications off, but I still sometimes see stuff at the top of the news feed and get distracted. And one big thing that I really struggle with, that I'm really lucky to get to struggle with this, is I have a lot of time to spend and can be really flexible. And so I'm really having a hard time setting a set routine. I get almost not quite everything I want to get done every day, but it's not the same time every day. And so I don't really feel as organized.
Yeah.
And so I'm really struggling making myself do the same things at the same time every day.
Right. So you almost have to set business hours for yourself,
Okay, right.
And so for me, so I do have 2.5 full days that I work my business. So for example, my Monday morning looks like this. When I sit down on Mondays, I'm usually trying to catch up from the weekend, from messages that I didn't get to. So I don't schedule any one-on-one calls from 8 a.m. until 1. And I use that from 8 to, and I will say to myself, okay, from 8 to 9:30, I will check in with challengers. I will check in with my coach groups, and I will return messages. And I actually say that to myself. Like, I'll put that in my calendar, and then I'll say from 9:30 to 10:30, I'm going to write a blog post. And then from 10:30 to noon, I'm going to, whatever I need to do, make a YouTube video or, whatever. I'll actually block out my time. And then I always have, for me, I have a large team. So I've from 1 until 4 is planning, is one-on-one calls, and so I actually have, and then I do the same thing on Wednesday mornings. I have that specific block of time that it's just me, personal Beachbody time, and actually kind of mark out what I want to do during that time. So if like my best friend calls me and says, let's go to lunch on Monday at noon, I am like, no, this is my work time. I can't go, but I can go on Tuesday because that's my scheduled day off. So even though I have this great flexibility in my life, I'm a creature of habit, and that routine I'm squirrely like that too. So even though I don't need to have a routine as much, I like that. I thrive on that kind of an environment.
Mm-hmm.
So I do that too.
One thing, Melanie, for me, when I first started, I hit Diamond in 93 days, and I've been Diamond now for 12 months, So going back to comparing to other people, you can't do that. I've seen people come into the business and, they went further than me as far as the ranks and different things. And I've seen people that hadn't progressed as quickly. But when I first started, I got up an hour early every day. That was my time. It was tough at first, but that was my time that nobody could disturb me. Nothing could happen. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting back in that routine now of doing that. And I can see the effects of it instead of trying to make it happen. It's happening at 4 a.m. in the morning. There's certain things that will get done at 4 a.m. in the morning where if I wait, sometimes it don't. So there is a sacrifice with it, but is it worth it? Heck yeah, it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. But, and like I tell my coaches a lot, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. Thank God they're not doing it, because there would not be an opportunity like this for all of us, And we'll continue to build, and there'll be more people doing it. But most people are not willing to make the sacrifice of the time or the effort that it takes to do something above average like we get to do.
And, it's not always like and I find some people will say to me, well, I can't get up at, 4 or 5. I'm like, and they'll say to me, I'm a night owl. I'm like, cool. Stay up late at night instead, or, maybe it's that you just cut out that hour of TV too, so it's like where does that sacrifice come for you in your specific life? There is that, so even overcommitting yourself. So I know for me, I'm a yes person. I would always say yes to everything that people asked me to do because I thought it was a great idea. So somebody wanted me to come and speak to their classroom about clean eating, and somebody else wanted me to run a fit club, and then somebody else wanted me to start a second fit club location. And yes, everything sounds like a great idea and I want to do it all, but does it fit in line with those priorities? Is it going to help me build my business? And it's okay to say, let me think about it. Or, you know what, it just doesn't fit into my priorities right now. I'd love to in the future, but just not right now. Or let me delegate that to somebody else, too. So keep that in mind, that it's okay to say that doesn't quite fit with my priorities right now too. Even with like volunteering. I used to do a way more volunteering and things, but I was like, I need this time to build my business, and I will get back to that. But right now, I can't spare the extra hours because I'm going to get behind. But then again, not everybody was going for top coach either. So, it is what it is. I did a fit club. For 2 years, my first 2 years of my business. I believe, and Michael runs a fit club, it helped my business grow locally. It gave me a place to invite people in the community. So absolutely. Yeah. Kristen. Okay, wait. Autumn, you asked, so what would you say is the top 5 things that should be done first? And so when you say that, what do you mean by that? Like top 5 things I should do first in my business as a Beachbody coach, or top 5 things I should do first in my morning when I wake up, or top 5 things to help you get to Diamond. So kind of clarify that.
Top 5 things I should make sure that I get done in the day for my business benefit.
Do you have that Power of 3 document?
Yeah, I do that every day.
That's exactly what you should do every single day.
Okay.
Now let's add another dimension to that. Every single day, can you do more than what's on that? Like, can you invite more? Can you add more contacts? Can you, do a little bit more in that area? Set your goal at Success Club 10 versus Success Club 5 if you're really trying to take it to the next level. Then last thing that I do, and I still do every day, is self-evaluate myself. So you can go through and you can invite people every day. You can follow up every day. You can post 3 to 5 times a day. But you can do that for an entire week and get 0 likes on your Facebook post, nobody responding to your invites, and nobody joining your challenge groups because maybe you're not very good at posting and it kind of comes across salesy, or it's not very eye-catching, or your invites are very, very salesy and they are kind of icky. And so what I've gotten in the habit of doing is not just doing that Power of 3, but always saying to myself, can I be better at this? How can I make sure that I'm getting responses, that I'm getting yeses? How can I get more likes on my Facebook post? So that Power of 3 is like that's your go-to, but then within that, you're like, how can I be better? And that's kind of where you challenge yourself to try to attract more people to you. So Kristen, it's the Power of 3 is a little different. It's kind of like our simplified version of the business activity tracker. And if it's not in the files section of our group, I'll post it because I have it in one of my guides and it's easy. I have a little video that Alyssa made and then my little Google spreadsheet that I can share with you guys too. And that Power of 3 is what I teach all my new coaches to use as well. That's what I teach them what to do. Other questions? How do you handle it when life gets crazy and the unpredictable happens and your calendar gets pushed aside? Like a sick kid, right? Okay, so that's going to happen. There's nothing you can do when that kind of stuff happens. And you just have to say to yourself, all right, I've got a sick kid today and I don't have a lot of free time and maybe my workout's not going to happen today, or maybe that you're going to use your workout as your way to say, look, I got a sick kid. I'm really stressed and, people keep puking on me and I just need 30 minutes to myself. So I'm going to go push play. And you talk about that. That's a social media post. That 30 minutes you take to yourself, That's social media. Maybe you say, I don't have time for anything else today, but I can make 2 Facebook posts and I can invite people or add to my contact list. Literally, you could sit on the couch while you're watching cartoons while your kid is sick, and you could do that, but you don't write a blog post. You don't make any phone calls. You don't get on any calls. You listen to the recordings that day, so you don't respond to every message. You just do what you have to do to get by. And there are days when you just have to go with it. But you look at your list and you say, what's the most important? How can I still lead by example? And that's just what you do, right? And you're okay with your schedule not being perfect, and that that this is fluid and that it's gonna change, and you just go with it.
Melanie, can you explain how I get this a lot, and I think you're definitely more seasoned at this. When you talk about inviting every day, I have ways that I do that, but you just go out there and just start messaging people, or do you developing that relationship first? What's the best way to explain inviting every day?
Inviting every day. So I make a list basically, and my list is my current challengers that I know are getting good results, or that are 2 weeks into it and are really, doing awesome, or that are really active in the group. So when I'm thinking about coaches who I'm going to invite, those are people that are on that list. So I'm going to kind of work through that list of inviting those people. It's going to be in my news feed. I always have that list beside me. Okay, that person's been talking about weight loss, or that person, and I'll keep people on that list. And I always have something to invite to. So when I reach out to somebody, it's like, hey, I think you would be really good at Beachbody coaching, and this is why. Do you have any interest in learning more about it, or interest in becoming a coach? And then I know that as the conversation goes, I'm going to say, hey, I have this new coach apprenticeship program starting on February 2nd. It'll help you to get started right, to not feel overwhelmed. So I've got somewhere to put them. If I see somebody that would be good in a challenge group, I'm going to reach out to them and just say, hey, I keep seeing your name pop up in my newsfeed, and I saw that you posted about, looking for healthy recipes, and I'm a Beachbody coach, and I love, I've really taught my family how to eat healthy, and this is what I do, and I would love to pair up with you or have you in my group. Are you interested? So it's customized based on the person that I see. Sometimes I'll just sit down and say, if it's people that I don't really know, or that I've kind of been talking to, or, if I'm just messaging people, I'll just say, hey, I'm starting a challenge group on, January 19th. I'm looking for people that are interested in fitness and nutrition accountability. Would you or somebody else be interested in joining my group with me? If, either way, let me know. Or would you refer me to, would you forward this message to somebody else? So sometimes I'll just do a general. So it just kind of changes based on what I'm looking for at that moment. But literally go down and just start messaging people. I have coaches, for example, Kaylee Hennessy will just go through everybody in her contact list and just invite everybody. She'll just general blanket, hey, how are ya? I haven't talked to you in a while. Don't think I'm weird for asking you this question, but she'll blurt it all out, and some people say no, some people say yes. And she always is like, oh, well, on to the next, she keeps on trucking along. She'll follow up and then she'll move on, so it's just like that. It's that fear of inviting everybody has. And it's like, once you start to do it, the fear just goes away.
Melanie, what do you say when someone says, I'm interested in learning more about coaching? That's where I get stuck. I don't know where to go from there.
Okay, so I always ask them what do you know about it already? I kind of say, all right, so tell me what it is that interests you most about coaching, and what do you know about it? And I wait to see what they say. So
Okay.
I wait to see, like, do they have any knowledge? Have they ever been a part of a challenge group? That's the kind of stuff I'm looking for. And if they have no knowledge whatsoever, I will send them that what is a Team Beachbody coach, because I think that's important. But I won't just send them that link. I'll actually say, like, hey, okay, so as a Beachbody coach, I run health and fitness accountability groups. We match people up with a fitness program and Shakeology, and our job is to help them start and finish a fitness program and provide them support along the way. And I'll say, here, this video really explains it, kind of what we do. So check this out and let me know what you think. And then usually that person doesn't respond. So I have to follow up, like 24 hours to be like, all right, so what did you think? You're like, does that sound like something you want to do? And they'll usually say yes, but I'm afraid because I've never been in a challenge group, or I don't know what to do. And then that's where I kind of say, well, I won't make you learn it all on your own. You'll be a part of my challenge group first, and you can kind of go through the process and get a feel for it. And we have a great coach apprenticeship, and that's kind of where I start to talk about the support that we provide.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Anybody else have a question? Got about 5 minutes left.
Back to what Michael was saying about inviting. I how much of the time do you spend like building a relationship with someone before sending the invite, or just going down your friends list and just sending out all the invites? I've been going down and don't have any fear, send out the messages. Most of the time it's no response, no reply. And I have gone back and followed up and asked in a different way or asked something else and still no reply. So most of the time it's just like silent.
Okay.
So I don't know if I should just keep doing that's what I'm doing and try to keep building my contact list and keep inviting more, or should I spend more time trying to build relationships with people before sending them an invite, or
I think that a little bit of both. So you really want to develop relationships with people. So part of your time in your day, since you've got a little bit more, can be, okay, I'm going to spend 20 minutes just going into a group that I joined, like a, organizing group or a scrapbooking group. And I'm just going to post some tips, or I'm going to share my favorite recipes, or, that kind of stuff. And so just engaging with people, that's considered relationship building. Going to like people's walls that you're like, man, they'd make a really great coach, and finding something that you can comment on. So that's like building relationships. So part of that, so you're going to do a little bit of both while you're adding new people at the same time. So it's just you're just kind of gently working all the different avenues.
Okay.
Yeah. Jared, that's a good question. You find your coaches often get discouraged due to rejection. Any tips on motivating and encouraging them? All right. So everybody gets rejected. It is a fact it's the name of the game. And we as their mentors have to constantly validate that it's not them. And just because it's no, it doesn't mean it's not ever. It's just no, not right now. And the best way to handle rejection is to be a product of the product, and to talk about it, and to be about it, and to lead that way, because all those people will come back around. And so what I do, and this is something you're going to want to keep in mind with your new coaches, is you want them to have some sort of success in the first 30 days, whether it's they get a free customer that creates a free account, whether somebody just buys a program, whether somebody just tries Shakeology and buys a packet off of them, that's considered a win. So something else, if you see people are really struggling to get any kind of success, do a free group. Just say, all right, if you're really struggling to get people to commit to a challenge group, let's run a 7-day free, clean eating and Shakeology group, or a 7-day abs challenge, or a 30-day, squats challenge, or something like that. Or, like we're going to cut the sugar challenge, and just get them to get people into that group that just make them their free coach that they can at least start practicing with. And that's considered success. And that's more motivating and encouraging than anything. So, like our coach apprenticeship program, there are some of you that are in that with me that you have coaches in there. Well, on our call tomorrow night, if they are really struggling, I'm going to suggest that next week they do a free group, and I'm going to give them the guide for a 7-day free group, because if they do that free group next week, Then I'm going to talk to them how to invite those people to then join the challenge group, which that would still get them in time for the end of the month. So I also strategically think about that kind of stuff too. So yes, I will share that 7-day guide. I better write this stuff down. What else do I need to give you guys? 7-day guide. What was the other thing? There was something else too. Oh, the power of threes.
Melanie, I think one thing that's helped me with rejections, because it comes with it, and you obviously want to get the most rejections that you can, and people don't understand that, but it is one of the personal development things I listened to. I don't remember who it was, but talks about the seed and the sower. And once you believe and have the confidence in this product and this company and see that it is the best of the best, then you can't control. You just casting out the good seeds. That's the way I always think when I get rejected. And some of it, in the parable, it talks about going on the thorny ground and the rock, and then some of it's on good soil. So you can't control that, and you have to remember that. Some people are just not ready for it yet. And so you keep moving forward with that. And I think about that all the time. I have people all the time, and really I want to scream at them, you're a flipping idiot. You're wasting your time going to the gym. You're making strawberries and bananas and spending 45 minutes in the morning and $10 on all this crap that you're pouring in your blender. But you can't say that unless it's somebody you really know good. Then I tell them, and then they either get their feelings hurt or they buy a challenge pack. But I think about that all the time. I've got the best. I had a guy tell me the other day, he's 50-something years old. He said he'll never go to the gym again. He's doing Shakeology, Body Beast, T25. He's got it all. So once you have that confidence in it and what you're doing is the best, then who cares? You share with them. You develop a way of sharing with them, obviously, and you get better about that, about getting to their why. But once you've done your job and you've done the best that you can, then it's on them. You've cast the good seed. Now it's up to them as far as receiving it. So I think it just takes time to gain that confidence. I still hate getting rejected, but, that's their loss. It really is. Keep going to the gym and getting the same no results that you've been getting all your life. And when you're ready, then you'll come back. And I don't tell them that, but that's the way I think now, and I think that just takes time to get to that point.
Yeah, I agree. I do. Personal development does help a lot. And Michael is like our master of personal development. And you can tell how much that's helped him in his mindset.
Well, that's because I failed a lot too. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just gonna say this. I lost 5 coaches. I thought I was gonna be 5-star, in March or April, and now I've got 5 rock star coaches on this call. I was sitting here looking at it, and I was thinking, it's amazing how God works and just things just come around.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a proud coach tonight. I've had my down moments, but personal development helped me get through that for sure.
Right. It's the truth. It's the truth. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think this was an awesome call. I think we had a lot of really great discussions, and I hope that word overwhelmed that I talked about at the beginning of this call is feeling a little less and less for you guys. It'll be a work in progress, and just remember that your business is growing. It's a growing pain. It's as you get more efficient, new issues come up, and that's part of it, but it's fun. And that's the biggest thing that I always want you guys to remember, right? So as you start to set goals and you start to put pressure on yourself, I want you to remember this is fun. You're a Beachbody coach because you want to be here. You want to help other people. And the minute it stops being fun and it's work, you will fail more. So keep that in mind. And sometimes that means you have to change your strategy to keep it so that you love what you do. That is so important. All right. And know that whether I'm your mentor or Michael is, or Julie or Angie or whoever is your upline sponsor coach, know that we're matching your pace, and we do not expect you to be a sprinter, right? And it's cool if you want to be that way, but we respect every decision that you guys make in your business and the way you want to run it. So just know that in the end, you can do 20 of these emerald to diamonds before you get there, and we will love you just the same as if you did one and went diamond in 30 days. So keep that in mind. All right. So yes, know that too. Don't ever feel bad for coming back for round 2, 3, 4, and 5. It doesn't matter. So, all right, guys, Have a fantastic night. I'll upload this into our file section of our recordings, and I will see you guys next week. We have Leanne Ruff from corporate. She's one of the corporate trainers, and she's going to talk to us all about recruiting next week because that is her strong point. And man, she is good at it. So that'll be next week's call. So I will see you guys all later and have a wonderful evening. Take care, guys. See you soon.